What's good, family? It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero. We back at it again. Sunday, April 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day. Hope you guys got some good jokes in. But before we get into it, let's get to the housekeeping. First of all, shout out to the Back Chasers. You will be getting this Sunday, April 2nd, the day of. Reason for that is it's my way of contributing back to the Bag Chasers. That is not a Patreon that is mine. It is Anton of AntonDaniels.com, his Patreon. And it's my way of contributing to that community. So for this specific video series on my channel, we are promoting the Bag Chasers. You'll notice down below the Patreon link to that is at the top. If you guys join up and I sent you there, let them know that old reckless Ray Dinero, who's camping out securely 10 toes down in the cryptocurrency channel, sent you guys. Obviously, I'm getting nothing from that. I'm not affiliated beyond being a paid participant, but it's my way of giving back and my way of, saying thank you to that community because they pour into me a lot and I appreciate it. Moving forward, everyone else will be getting this Wednesday. Those of you who are catching me on Hump Day, which will be April 5th. It's the last day to pay the rent. Those of you catching me Wednesday, if you would like to get this information earlier, if you think this would be more worthwhile earlier, because I try to give a little bit of alpha every episode along with at least one news story. But the gist of this is it's my portfolio update series. So we are tracking a portfolio that we built for the calendar year of 2023. Moving forward to show you how one such as myself, who's been in the cryptocurrency space for 10 years and counting, builds out a portfolio. So every year I retrace my portfolio. I completely retcon the whole thing and start over from scratch. And then I'll have stuff that goes into my long-term holdings. But overall, every year, the beginning of the calendar year, I am starting over from scratch. So this year I went ahead and documented it. And this way we can see where we're sitting, what the decisions I've made have yielded, and my thoughts and ideals on how I build a winning portfolio. So let's dive right into it. First of all, we will see that for the calendar year of 2023 in the 24-hour, we are up 1.1% for the 24-hour change, which is cool. I don't normally look at this number. The 24-hour here, I do not look at that. That does not affect me at all. The one that matters to me is total profit and loss. And we want that in the green. And right now, total profit and loss is sitting at 52.33%. That's a nice number since January. I mean, we're clearing out the first quarter. Things are looking good. The sky is not falling. I tend to think that I have positions that are not sky is falling positions. This portfolio obviously is weighted on one of my two primary holdings, which I am currently working to build this up to as much as I possibly can. Because we got a big goal of getting to 32 Ethereum. And right now I think this year, comfortably, I'm stretching for 10. I think that I will beat that at the clip that I am going. But we shall see. But I'm pretty sure that across the board, I will have 10 Ethereum. Like, I think I should be able to at least hit that this year. So, we're working our way there. We've got this set up so that we're securing the Ethereum bag while also investing in some of these other positions, which brings us to this week's top 10 holdings. Now, this week I did not have the cash infusion. I got paid on the 31st. Unfortunately, I had a panel that morning after I'd been up late, And then after the panel, I forgot to check to see if the money had hit so that I could get the money transferred over to my bank account so it would be a same day transaction. And I waited too long. I didn't get to it till midday. I fumbled that bag a little bit. But come Monday, next week's portfolio update, you will see some movement in these markets because I have shifted my savings plan. Actually, I've shifted my debt payback plan to facilitate me to save more money because when you're going into a recessionary environment, paying back debt that's in deflationary dollars is no longer a priority because later assets will have gone up and I will be able to pay them back with money that's going up in value against money that's going down in value. So I'm cutting myself a discount, positioning myself to get a little bit extra gains. I've also, as I tell people all the time over on Future Financial Strategies, like the first thing you do in an inflationary environment is get yourself positioned to make some moves. The second thing you do is stop buying shit. Like, so we are no longer using the floating debt to buy shit. Like, if stuff's not fully funded, I am not purchasing it. It's not a priority to me. Like, there's nothing that I need that I can't set up and allocate funds towards. Like, currently, I'm in the middle of a project of replacing some of my power tools for my career, my job. And, instead of buying all the power tools up front, I am buying them one at a time every couple of weeks. I'll take a chunk of money and put it towards the power tool budget. And so, like, normally I'll get like a tool, few batteries, pack out kit, all the fun stuff. And, you know, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with waiting. I would rather be rich than have those things up front and have them in the float that I'm not rushing to pay back. Like, once I stop rushing to pay back that floating little bit amount of debt that I allow myself to keep, I am not going to continue adding to it. That would just be ignorant. So we're not fumbling the bag like that. We're making strategic moves and we're moving with intention around here. So this week's will be pretty similar, if not exactly the same as last week's as far as the top 10. Outside of like how these coins have moved, but like it basically looks the exact same as last week. So we're going to get to the countdown on this list and then we're going to jump into some interesting stuff I got for you because while I have news and while we are going over buying strategies and while we are doing that, I've also got, this is a feature packed episode because I've got a couple of things. We got some big news and then I've got another opportunity that I am currently involved in that I don't bring things to the light until I've got my money in it and I'm at least assured that it's working to my specifications as a person who's not giving financial advice, that's just showing you how we make moves on the internet with my cryptocurrency portfolio. But hopefully you're entertained and maybe you learn something, do some of your own research and, get to this bag with me. So let's do the first thing, the top 10. Position number 1, we have Ethereum. ETH. Position number 2, we have Synthetics Network, SNX. Position number 3, we have Arbitrum, ARB. Position number 4, we have Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC. Position number 5, we have Yearn Curve, YCRV. Position number 6, we have Alchemix, ALCX. Position number 7, we have Synthetic BTC, SBTC. Position number 8, we have Frax, FRAX. Position number 9, we have USD Coin, USDC. And position number 10, Bitcoin, the original orange pill, BTC. Now, before we jump into the other features, I definitely want to make sure to touch really quickly on buying strategy. Now, there's really only one that I realistically am a very much advocate of, and it's what I tell everybody. I always tell people it's something I do myself, which is Dollar cost averaging, or DCAing, is the shorthand for that. So we're going to learn two things. DCA is shorthand for dollar cost averaging. Now, this did not originate in the cryptocurrency space. It originated in the traditional finance space because you have a lot of people who try to time the market. Now, with that said, there's no perfect timing the market. And even when you see those people who do try to time the market and make those market plays, you look at it and it's a matter of, oh, I missed it by this much, and they're worried about how they left money on the table, or they wait through a bull cycle and the price just keeps going up and they never get in, and then they get in at the peak because, like, finally FOMO, another term from the cryptocurrency space, fear of missing out, sets in. They buy the peak, then the price drops, then they start complaining about how everything's a scam and a ripoff because they made a bad financial decision. Happens all the time. So I always recommend people, because I mean the data is in on that dollar cost averaging is more effective than people who time the market on a long term scale across the board. Like, the numbers are in on that. It's not a debate. And what dollar cost averaging is, it's buying with the exact same amount and the exact same frequency all the time, no matter what the price is. So if the price is up, if the price is surging, you buy then. If the price is down, price is dropping, you buy then. Whatever it is, when it's your time to buy, you purchase. Now, another strategy that I am looking to experiment with, that was brought to my peer view based on the news story that we're going to cover at the end of this, is something that I would consider it's very similar to dollar cost averaging, but I'd say it's an aggressive version of dollar cost averaging, which is focusing in, and like what I like to call it, what I personally call it, is buying red. And like I'll have it where I'll get in a state where I'll make it a rule for myself. I'm like, you're only buying red, which is basically the market is down, the sky is falling, things are bad. But it's things that you're long on. So at that point, you're just fishing for those deals, because nothing goes up in a straight line. So buying red, it's like, if it's going up and the market's green and I don't buy that week, I hold that cash until I see the market retrace a little bit. Which means that, like, if you're surging in a bull market, it's not like every day is just straight up. There's going to be times where it goes straight up and then it'll pull back a few percent, like between 1 and 5%. Maybe 1 and 10%, depending on how volatile the market is or what the asset is. And then you just wait for that little pullback, and as soon as you see it turn red, that's when you get the money into the market, you make your buy. Since we're getting very, very recessionary, I am getting ready to take the funds that I am putting into the market to trade. I am getting ready to institute a strategy that's going to be a buy red strategy, because I do believe that we're still in a bear market. It's looking nice right now, but I still am firmly in my bear market mindset still. I'm still buying regularly because I am dollar cost averaging, but I'm getting ready to kick it a little bit more aggressive, because I feel that if we're running into a market where we're going to have some market volatility due to the macroeconomics and what's going on with the currency, we could be facing in the US. Those of you who are in the US, I'd say we're firmly in a recession, but like, it could be to the point to where they're going to have to admit that we're in a recession. And I'm getting ready. I'm looking for deals now. Like, at this point, I'm ready to get aggressive. Like, I'm not going to be doing what I've usually been doing. I'm ready to kick it up a notch. Like, now I'm looking. I'm like, I want to see those retracements. I'm looking to see dips. I'm looking to see flash crashes. I'm looking for all of it. I'm here for it. And one of those things, I mean, we're only going over two buying strategies, because they're the only two that, like, in all honesty, if you're dollar cost averaging, or if you're just focusing in on something that you're very long on and you're just fishing for deals, I don't see how either one of like one's a little bit more aggressive and strategic and requires a little bit more perspicacity than the other one does. But like there's nothing that really beats dollar cost averaging. You need to be getting into the market regularly. Like if you're trying to get firmly positioned, then you need to be buying. And it's that simple because it averages out. Because if you're buying on the same frequency, if the price goes down, then now you're getting a little bit more Bitcoin. Now you're getting a little bit more Ethereum. Now you're getting a little bit more of whatever you're buying. And that's going to beat the guy who's going, I'm trying to time the bottom. Like me personally, I'm looking for retracements. I want to see red on that screen. Like when we scroll down here and we're looking at these, like on the 1 hour, I'm not even looking at 1 hour red. I want like a 24-hour red. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. Like, so if I was dollar cost averaging this would be a go in marker for me. It's 1 to 5%. Like this could also be a go in marker for me. I'm looking at one plus percentage. I want some red on that 24 hour. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what's going to get me to buy. Like here, we're holding. We're going to hold that cash. We're going to wait. Ethereum, holding. Going to hold that cash. We're going to wait. It hasn't actually retraced. Like this is basically a straight line up. Like it's going to have to, like for me, it's going to have to retrace on this metric, and then I'll buy that retracement. So that way it can have its little bad day. It can have its little course correction over a week. And I'm fine with it dipping further. Like if I catch it at 3% and it dips down to 10, I don't care. As long as because it's going to ramp back up to over what it was. So for me, that's what we're looking for. Obviously you can see like it definitely had some retracements here. The 28th would have been a great buy day. It's like it looks like the whole of the portfolio was down that day, and then we came back up. So like you're looking for this because this is what's going to happen during the bull run. Even during a bull run, it's going to still stagger back. You're going to have days where you get that little dip in there. And for the strategy that we're shifting over to for the stuff that's going into the market, that's what we're looking for. And I'm excited about it. So, on to the next thing. So, I had to find something to do with my Arbitrum airdrop, the other half of it, because it's still sitting below a metric that I was wanting for getting into this space. So, for the initial half sell-off. So what I ended up having to do was find a place to park this while I'm waiting for the price to go up in a fashion in which was going to be acceptable for me to park this while I'm waiting for the price to go up. So I stumbled upon this pretty interesting exchange, and they had some interesting tokenomics that I found to be, something to perk my interest, which doesn't normally happen, but in this case, it happened. So, this is Camelot. The website is app.camelot.exchange, and I will go ahead and add this to the description, and I'm going to put it up towards the top. Actually, I'm going to put it below the Patreon link. And I'll link you guys to it so that way, those of you who are interested in doing some more of your own research will be able to easily identify and find it. But the reason I came over here was because it was a couple of folds. So like when you launch the app, you'll go here. Obviously, you're going to have to connect your hot wallet to it. Like if you click this, it'll give you a pop-up on how you're gonna do this. And from the website, so basically you're just gonna have a hot wallet and know how to navigate this. Like we'll dive into that at a later point. But you land on the trading page, which is their exchange, which works really efficiently. It's very fast. You can see they have a plethora of token pairings that are in here. That you can, obviously get into, out of, trade as you will. It's got a little bit of everything. It's a very, very healthy list. I mean, all the stuff that's on Arbitrum currently is on here, to my knowledge. But there's two things that were interesting to me. So obviously they have a few different farms in here. So obviously they have the ARB ETH. They've got GMX USDC, which has a really good rate on it. ETH, WST ETH, actually really decent rate if you're looking for boosted stuff on there. They've got a lot of pools in here that have some interesting yields. Now, these pools pay out in Grail, which is the ecosystem token for this exchange. Currently, it is at $2,792, and we'll round that up, 45 cents. The thing that I found interesting about this ecosystem is if you go into any of these, and so like we'll do just for example, we'll go into here because it's a hot pool right now. These have a deal for when you create these liquidity positions that gives you an ability to lock these. So, for instance, let's see if it'll let us do this without actually. Okay. So, like, one day, it's got different locks. So, it's like how long you're locking it. And so, this is going to give you a booster. And this down here is like the boosted APY. And that's how they have these differences. So it's like the base APY is 4.82%, but if you lock it, you can get it up to 15.97. And then you're also earning fees. And then you will be eligible. They have this thing called a Nitro reward that's like an also booster on it for those specific pools that they're needing liquidity for. Really, really cool. Really cool. Now, the other thing that they have is what you can do with their platform token, which I found pretty interesting. So, you can use your X-Grail for 3 additional things on outside of just staking it. So you can stake it and you allocate your X-Grail and you get a share of the platform dividends. So like you get a dividend, like you get an ownership interest in the platform, basically, where when the money that the platform makes, you get a cut of that distributed to you as a token holder. Really cool. I mean, I think every exchange should at minimum have a dividend function to where you are getting a cut of the money if they have a platform token. Like that just makes sense. Great way to get people to lock their Grail up or your platform token. The next thing that they have, though, these two are interesting. So one of them is a yield booster. You can allocate your Grail, you lock it up, and it gives you a boost on your farming. That is really interesting. That's an interesting concept. That's a something that I'm like, man, this is really a game changer. And then you can allocate your Grail. The third thing that you can do with it is allocate it here to get perks from every sale happening on Camelot's launchpad, which is also interesting. I haven't done a deep dive into the launchpad aspects. I haven't seen what they're launching, but I'm pretty sure it gives you some exclusive access to some projects that they're launching on their launchpad. Definitely a good reason to be over here. But I'm like, they have, as far as a token goes, they're really good at getting you to make sure that those tokens are not in circulation, because like all of these things are extremely useful. And so you have different lockup periods. Like this is pretty interesting stuff. So I will definitely be playing with this exchange, and like we can go over here and check out the launch pad and see what we've got going on. So currently, hard cap, whitelist stage, all of their launch pads are ended at present. So the launch pad one really, as far as like right now, is going to not be useful. They have a really good earnings dashboard that lets you see how your stuff is working, what you have that is harvestable, where you can pull from. This is useful for somebody like me who yield farms, because like then if you're in multiple farms on this page, you can kind of get a view of all of them. This is a very good convenience for yield farmers. They also have a calculator, and where you can select different assets. Oh, okay, okay. So one, token two. We'll just go ahead and play with this and see what we got. Lock duration. We'll say, for instance, you threw like 2 grand in here, and then we go. So we'll just say. So, you know, it get like, that way you can do some quick maths, if you would, to kind of get a projection. Obviously, these aren't set in stone numbers. Like things, obviously, values of tokens are variable. How many people are in the pool, variable. So like at the time that you do these calculations, you would have to. Oh, I got you. So you would have to. Hold on, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you can play around here and see. It gives you full math, so you can actually calculate the yield booster if you have Grail staked. So like if you had zero point 0.5 Grail staked, you would harm bonus APR. Yeah. Let's. So there's some interesting stuff that you can do here to kind of game plan to see like what you're going to be getting and how this is going to work, which is also really good for yield farmers because you can come here and kind of like add a snapshot the day of, because like obviously these numbers change as the liquidity pools change. um but you could game plan like if you were gonna make an investment here and actually move some money around, you can get a projection of like what you're looking at. And I like that. I really do. I really think these are interesting utility. So I will be doing a lot of stuff with this exchange, particularly when I'm working on Arbitrum, because like now that this is here and I found this, I have a reason to be back on this chain. Pretty heavy because like there's a lot of opportunity here in regards to the ability for me to park my assets while I'm waiting for appreciation on them and get some passive while I'm waiting. There is an ability for me to have options to become a stakeholder in this platform as well, which is definitely on my list of things to do now. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm liking it. I'm liking what's going on here. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and so far so good. We'll definitely be revisiting this, but as far as Arbitrum goes, this has worked its way into my exchange platform and my landing pad for when I'm moving funds into Arbitrum. Also, the fees are low. Never forget that, people. Okay, so that's going to do it for the Camelot Exchange section. Obviously, nobody is paying me to say any of these things. I'm just documenting what I am doing. Obviously, do your own research. I think there's a lot of promise in some of these projects that I'm bringing to the forefront that I'm utilizing. Um, but yeah, that's just something that I find interesting. And one of the tools, and like obviously, whenever I give you guys a chance, obviously, I'm using CoinGecko. That's my way of displaying my information to you. Love that platform as well. Really good for tracking your crypto stuff. Obviously, you have to manually input things, but I'm okay with that. Like that's fine by me. That's the way I like to do it. I'm old school in that sense. Um, it helps me really dial into what I'm doing. So I got no problems with it. But anyways, that's going to do it for Camelot Exchange. So this is some interesting news that wasn't really heavy in the news. There's a couple of content creators that have covered it, but I'm going to jump into it as well. So while everybody was losing their minds these last couple of months, MicroStrategy, a publicly traded company, has bought up 2,500 more Bitcoin for themselves for $45 million in the last 2 months. And it's a publicly traded company, so they have to file what they're doing with the SEC. This actually happened. This is not rumor. It's not speculation. This is what they did because they are legally obligated. They have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to let everybody know what they're doing with the business that are owners in the business. It's a publicly traded company, so this is public knowledge. When I tell you and I tell people that, my opinions on Bitcoin are nothing more than me following the money, this is what I'm talking about. When I tell people that when they're panic selling their Bitcoin and their Ethereum, this is what I'm talking about. While you guys are out here getting scared, worried about because you saw the number go down one day or 1 week or 1 month. This is who you're giving your stuff to. I mean, you're not just giving it to them, you're also giving it to me. But I mean, I'm not rich yet. So this is who you're giving your money to. Like when you sell off your Bitcoin, like these dudes are buying it up. Like they're they're going to make it so that you can't get back in the market. Like you're going to come back in at a worse price point than you sold at, most likely. Because none of you are good at timing the bottom. Otherwise, you too would be buying 2,500 Bitcoin for $45 million because you would have that kind of money and you don't. So this was the piece of news that I had for this week. That I felt didn't get enough coverage that is important. Like you just need to follow the money. Like when people are like, I don't get Bitcoin, I'm like, well, all the rich people are buying it up and you are not rich. So you should have some. And that's kind of my stake on this. I'm like, well, when you've got publicly traded companies that have to file with the SEC that you can go buy their stock right now, I don't think there's that you know something that they don't, considering they run the world and understand how this stuff is navigating. So I high key doubt that they're spending $45 million on some BS and then publicly stating that they did it. So there's a little bit of credence to this. When countries are going, hey, we'll deal in Bitcoin so that we can transact with each other around the dollar. And I mean, at this point, they're just blatantly signing new deals to where they're just like, we're not using the dollar. But, I'll be the crazy guy in the corner with a tinfoil hat on, trying to tell you guys screaming from the top of the rooftops that the sky is falling. Because for some of you, it technically is. So I think we're gonna end it off on that note. I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend. I hope you have not fumbled the bag. Those of you who I'm catching on Wednesday, that are catching this on Wednesday, I hope Hump Day is treating you well and that you're having a great week. And if you're not, it's not too late to change that. You're halfway through. You can still pivot. Ways that you can support the channel: like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Or did anybody get the Arbitrum airdrop that's on the team right now, that's over here, that have found their way here? If so, what did you do with it? If you did not, are you dollar cost averaging into the market? Are you regularly allocating a little bit of money? It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be a little bit. You can buy a little bit of Bitcoin. You can buy pieces of Bitcoin. You don't have to rush in. You don't have to save up till you have a whole Bitcoin. I mean, at this point, most likely that's a pot shot in the sky to just like flip out and buy a whole one. If you got it like that, then I'd be in on it. If I could buy a whole nother one, I would buy a whole nother one. But right now, I too am buying pieces of Bitcoin, and I have been for 10 years regularly. So yeah, leave me some feedback. Also, ways to support the channel. We're always trying to make things better around here. There are options down in the description for ways to donate to the channel, support the platform, support the future platforms, because we're getting ready to start making some moves. Things are about to get real interesting. Pieces are coming together. The stars are aligning. We are coming together to form Voltron. So, until next week, it's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and I am signing out.